Under John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens have had a lot of regular season success. Whether it's their win-loss record, whether it's them breaking different records, the Baltimore Ravens have been a very great team in the regular season. And when they're healthy, they've been very, very consistent. Like, you can always expect them to get double-digit wins. You can always expect them to be close to the top of the division or sometimes even the conference. The Baltimore Ravens in regular season, they have been just crushing it recently. But then there's the postseason. And in the postseason, that's when there's been that, not necessarily the lack of success, but the lack of ultimate success. And with a lot of fans, once they saw that John Harbaugh signed a contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens, some of them were feeling like, all right, well, I guess that's that. You can go ahead and can it, Ravens. We're going to be the same old team that we've been. But I'm here to actually let you know that the ultimate success should still continue to be expected from the Baltimore Ravens, and specifically the Baltimore Ravens under John Harbaugh. Team, keep it clean. Let's talk about it. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and leave a like on the video so you can stay up to date with everything going down with our Baltimore Ravens. Now, we're going to do this differently today. And happy Sunday to you. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a phenomenal day and everything is going great for you. And if it's not, keep going, because you got more opportunities to fix it. So we got a question from my guy, Malachi, and he titled it Expectations. And let's see what he had to say. He said, hello, Ingraven. Hope you and the family are doing well. I'll just start this off quick. The Ravens just let us know what to expect going forward for the next 3 years after extending John Harbaugh. Let's see what my guy Malachi, how he's feeling. He said, like Steve Bisciotti said, he wants to be competitive. So I tell you and Ravens fans going into the season, just expect to be competitive. Nothing else until they show us different. Now, let me just continue before I go into it. He said, I don't hate John Harbaugh, and he's not a bad coach, but I really don't see any difference between him and Mike Tomlin. You know what? I can't wait no more. All right, let's go piece by piece. He said, like Steve Bisciotti said, he wants to be competitive. So I tell you, and Ravens fans going into the season, just expect to be competitive. Nothing else until they show us different. When you're at, I know in the beginning of the seasons, they always talk about it on these shows, these sports shows, which teams are true competitors and contenders, and which teams aren't. Usually the Ravens are always listed as contenders. Sometimes, depending on how things go during the season, especially early in the season, they may take the Ravens off of them list, but by the end of the season, the Ravens are always in the mix. They always listed as true contenders for a Super Bowl. And I don't think that should change at all. And I remember what Steve Bisciotti said a couple of years ago, as long as they're competitive. And look, hey, it's business. That's business talking. Because with Steve Bisciotti, him being the owner, his goal is to make money, is to make bread. So if the Baltimore Ravens are competitive, they're not this losing team, fans don't get disinterested in the team, then hey, he's making money. He's making a lot of money. But see, the Baltimore Ravens, while he did say that, and the business side of the things like that are true, the Baltimore Ravens have been contenders. They have been. They have built these teams, especially the past 2 years, these teams that have been great, these teams that have been stacked, and these teams that have been good enough to win Super Bowls. But let's continue. They obviously haven't. They fell short for one reason or another. But let's continue. He also said, I don't hate John Harbaugh, and he's not a bad coach, but I really don't see any difference between him and Mike Tomlin. Well, when the Baltimore Ravens, let me show you a big difference. When the Baltimore Ravens, they moved on from their previous franchise quarterback, Joe Flacco, they brought in a Lamar Jackson. Now, all 31 other teams, including the Baltimore Ravens, so actually all 32 teams had an opportunity to get Lamar Jackson, but they didn't. They didn't. Because, you know, the Baltimore Ravens, they passed over him once because they got Hayden Hurst first. But every team had an opportunity, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. What did they do? They didn't. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, after Ben Roethlisberger, they moved on from him, or he moved on from the game, whatever. They ain't get no franchise quarterback. They've been struggling to get a franchise quarterback. They done went through Kenny Pickett. They done went through Mason Rudolph. They done went through Devin Hodges. They tried Russell Wilson. They tried Justin Fields. And I know there's been some more sprinkled in there as well, but that's a big difference right there. Now, I know you probably talking about coaching style and just, but still, like, that's big right there because John Harbaugh contributes to the draft. It's not just EDC. No, John Harbaugh contributes to the draft as well. So he was part of that with Lamar Jackson. And even now we know his job was on the line that year in 2018, but even with the transformation of the team going from Flacco to a Lamar Jackson, Harbaugh was a big part of that. And again, pressure buzz Pius, because that boy was getting ready to be on up out of there, but he did it. And it obviously worked out like crazy. So I get what you're saying, that you do see similarities between the two, but at the same time, there's some big differences there, my friend. Big differences. And the Steelers recently, they have not, and I know at the bottom line, neither one of them has won the Super Bowls recently. But at the same time, the Ravens have had a lot more success than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they are actually sort of like flip-flop teams if you look at it, because the Steelers, a lot of years, boy, they start off strong. It's like, whoa, Steelers, okay, calm down, buddy. They'll be undefeated for a long time. They'll be going. And then it's like, oh, they ran out of gas. So, they're done. But the Ravens, they the opposite. Because they start off a little bit shaky. So, what Ravens? Oh, here we go. Oh, what we about to do? But then, as the season goes along, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then they just start killing it. But anyway, continuing. He said, just think about it. At least with Mike Tomlin, he has the excuse of not having a quarterback to why he can't win a playoff game. But hold up. Why should he be excused for the Pittsburgh Steelers not being able to find their franchise quarterback? Because they've had plenty of opportunities. Why is he giving that excuse? Now, John Harbaugh and them, they found a franchise quarterback in Lamar Jackson, obviously. And John Harbaugh said it. Now, look, we know what Steve Bisciotti said about being competitive, but also don't forget what John Harbaugh said about Lamar Jackson going into last season. He said, I want Lamar Jackson to be the best quarterback ever. Ever. And look what they did. Look what Lamar Jackson did last season. Look at that. This man had one of the best seasons ever. Ever. Not just, one of the best seasons in 2024. He had one of the best seasons ever. His numbers don't make no kind of sense. And he honestly didn't even throw a pick last year. He threw 41 touchdowns. And his 4 interceptions, they weren't even on him. That's the craziest part. And that's the most frustrating part, too. It should have been 41-0. Maybe it might have been 42 or 43-0. But still, that's crazy. And then we ain't even talking about the rushing yards, too. But so John Harbaugh, he started doing what he said he wanted to do. He started doing it. But I don't feel like, because you said Mike Tomlin got an excuse. No, he ain't got no excuse. Because they've had chances to draft a franchise quarterback, and it ain't happened. They got a lot of other positions right on that team, but franchise quarterback, the most important one, no, they've been getting it wrong. So should he be given an excuse for getting the franchise quarterback wrong? I don't think so. Anyway, he said, what is John Harbaugh's excuse? He's had multiple good rosters. They have. I agree with that part for sure. He said it's the same old story every time when we get to the playoffs. When you put it black and white, the Ravens, they may advance in a playoff game, but then they ultimately lose. So that is the same old story. But how they've been losing, that's a little different. When you get in the context and whatnot, that's when it's a little bit different. He said this is even before we had Lamar Jackson. Ooh, so he's taking it a step further. I like that. Now, obviously, from 2008 to 2011, the Ravens, they were getting extremely close. I think 2008, that was AFC Championship. 2009, what did they get to? Divisional. But then, of course, they kept making the playoffs 2010, 2011. Then 2011, they made it to the AFC Championship. And then we know the whole Billy Cundiff, the Lee Evans, all that stuff. Ooh, that's still my most painful Ravens game ever. For me. Not the AFC Championship from 2 years ago. No other game is that's the one for me, the most painful one. But anyway, with John Harbaugh, they kept knocking on the door. Then finally, year 5, boom, they broke through and won the Super Bowl. But after then, yeah, they haven't. 2013, they didn't make the playoffs. I think they lost to the Bengals week 16 of the regular season, so they didn't make the playoffs. And Jimmy Smith had got a nice pick on AJ Green on that game. That's 2013, 2014. That was Steve Smith's senior year. They brought him in. They made the playoffs that year, and they got bounced by the Patriots. 2015, everybody got hurt. Injury year. In 2016 and 17 was not pretty. 2017 was the 4th and 12 that actually ended up helping us get Lamar Jackson. That was a piece of it. Obviously, the Baltimore Ravens ended up trading back into the first round, but it was all a piece of it, man. Everything was all a piece of it. So, they didn't make the playoffs that year, but they did get their guy. They got Lamar. 2018 started off shaky, was looking very rocky. And again, like we talked about, it looked like Harbaugh was about to be out of there, but obviously he wasn't, because insert Lamar Jackson, and then Harbaugh got new life. And he was even like dancing with Lamar. I remember at the I think it was either the last game of the season, the Browns and Ravens game, for the division and to make it to the playoffs too, or it was for the playoff game. I think it was for the Browns Ravens game. Well, Harbaugh he was sitting there. I said, all right, Harbaugh, but he was so happy. He was like, man, hey, Lamar, you help me keep my job. Let's go. So I get it though, man. But Lamar just inserted life into the Baltimore Ravens because they were lifeless before. But that was when they moved on from Flacco. So then 2019, obviously 14-2, number 1 seed. You get bounced in the divisional. It's like, oh, what is this? What is this? And Mark Ingram, he was hurt, and they still didn't really run with Gus Edwards or the other running backs. In 2020, you got playoff win. It's like, all right, cool. Then Lamar got hurt in the Bills game. The offense wasn't looking too good, but it was just, again, a mix of everything. Lamar threw that pick six. The Ravens ran the same play two times in a row in the red zone, like right from like the 5-yard line. They ran the same exact play twice. Then on the second time, the Lamar threw the pick six. Justin Tucker doesn't get talked about a lot because everybody remembers that pick six, but Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals in that game, 2 of them. So Justin Tucker, but he been trying to give hints like, "Hey, I'm struggling on it." But no, man. But then that game happened. Then Lamar got hurt. There was that bad snap, went over his head. Then Lamar's head bounced on the turf. Boom, that was it. Concussion done. So we lose. 2021, 2022, Lamar gets hurt. He starts the Ravens at the top of the division, the top of the conference. Then he gets hurt, and then that was it. But again, I always say, my opinion, I don't know nothing. But I just still think that was contract negotiations those 2 years. In 2021, 2022, I think that was Lamar telling the Ravens, like, look, y'all, okay, y'all want to see what life is like without me? Y'all don't want to pay me? All right, watch this. Boom, there you go. Go ahead, win without me and see what happens. And they ain't win without him. Then 2023, of course, boom, back. MVP season, number 1 seed. And then they lost in the AFC Championship. Lamar Jackson, that game. First, the Chiefs, they strike first, and Lamar throw that touchdown to Zay Flowers. Like, oh, yeah, let's go. And then Lamar threw another touchdown to Zay Flowers, but boom, got knocked out. The ball got knocked out at the 1. That was painful. It hurt. So, and then also there was an interception. Should have been pass interference, but it is what it is. It was an interception. Lamar threw the interception when he on the ball intended to Isaiah Likely. And the Ravens just couldn't get moving. They couldn't get moving. Now that was a game where they decided they didn't want to run the ball with the running backs against a Chiefs defense that had not been good against the run. That was malpractice right there. And then you fast forward to last year with the Ravens. They ain't get the number 1 seed, but they started like really wrecking shop toward the end of the year. They just built up this team, and they were looking nice, healthy too. It's like, oh yeah, and we got Derrick Henry. Oh yeah. That first playoff game against the Steelers at the crib, it's like, oh, yeah, they moving. They got it. Running all over the Steelers. Defense playing good. They did their thing, man. But then against the Bills, Lamar threw the pick. There was the bad snap, the fumble. There were drops. There was the Mark Andrews fumble. There was drop 2-point conversion. Just a lot that went on, obviously, as y'all know. But again, I'd say that game is not on Harbaugh, in my opinion. But anyway, I say all that to say this. It's not the same old story. Like I said, when it's black and white, when you think about, hey, did the Ravens win the Super Bowl or not? Then it's the same old story, because it's not. They didn't. But when you think about the context for those losses, for the different seasons, how the different seasons have went, in my opinion, it's not the same old story. There's a lot of context involved in it. But anyway, he said, this is even before we had Lamar Jackson. I at least would have expected for them to let John perform under pressure, but now I feel he's just complacent. Now with that, I do agree with that part. I know with the first half of it that, the Ravens, I feel like they should have let him play out that last year. I feel like they should have just let John coach out the last year and then see where it went from there. And I said this before, if he won a Super Bowl, sign him to a 20-year contract extension. But if he came up short, okay, move on. Y'all can do it amicably. Y'all can do it peacefully. There ain't got to be no bad blood, and there ain't got to be no ugly headlines like, oh, Ravens fired John. Nobody has to get fired. They could have moved on. That would have been that. They'd been like, oh, yeah, after 17, 18 years, the Baltimore Ravens move on from John Harbaugh. Like, oh, that was a long time. Nice run. Could have been fine, but it didn't. That's cool. So, yeah, man. But I agree with the part where you said you expected, or you at least would have expected for them to let John Harbaugh perform under pressure. So I agree with that part. But then the second half, I disagree with, because he said, "Now I feel he's just complacent." That's an interesting comment right there. It ain't the first time that I've seen it before. Now, when you do have job security, different people handle it different ways, because there could be people that, when they don't know if they're going to be able to keep their job or not, for some of them, boy, they will put on their best performance ever. They will just kill it in a good way. Then there's other people that they won't. All that the pressure and the unknown, it'll stress them out, and just they'll be going crazy. They'll be like, oh my goodness, and they could possibly be thinking about what's next after this. They could be like, you know what? If I ain't keeping my job, I could be thinking about what's next. And then when you checked out, oh, that's it. You're done. Now, I don't think that John Harbaugh, if that would have been the case, I don't think he would have been checked out. Because, again, go back to 2018. When it came out, the Ravens and John Harbaugh going to mutually part ways. That boy checked all the way in. He said, hold up. Now, I ain't trying to get fired. He said, and if I do, look, I'm about to put on a show for these people, man. But... So, yeah, I wouldn't have been mad if that would have happened with Harbaugh, if they would have just let him ride it out. But at the same time, complacency. John Harbaugh last year was not the last year of his contract. Do you feel like he was complacent then? Because going into last season, he had 2 years left on his deal. Do you feel like he was complacent? In my opinion, he certainly was not. Because look at the team. Look at how they performed. Look at how they started and look at how they finished. They started off 0-2. They lost the first 2 games. A lot of people feel like, oh, Ravens dead in the water. They done. That's a wrap. Oh, yeah. Nobody comes back from that. Then they went from 0-2 to 1-2. Then they went from 1-2 to 2-2. And then they only lost 3 more games for the rest of the regular season. Just 3. And with the Ravens, they're not a team that ever really gets whooped. The most they got beat up on was against the Eagles. And they're the Super Bowl champs. But that was the most they got beat up on. And they only lost that game technically by 1 score. Because I know Lamar scored at the very, very end. But that was a team that really just handled the Ravens. Other than that, Ravens never get whooped. They are always in every single game. They never take beatings. They be giving them out. They certainly be giving them out. But where was the complacency then? And he still had 2 more years. Go back the year before. The year before, 2023. He had 3 more years left on his deal. 2023, 2024, 2025. He had 3 more years left on his deal. Was there complacency then? Because Ravens got the number 1 seed. I don't think there can be complacency if the Ravens end up getting the number 1 seed. Because coaching has a lot to do with that. Has a lot to do with it. Did he still have blunders here and there? Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I don't think there's complacency when your team is like that. And they accomplish that. So that's just something to think about. And I ain't no John Harbaugh forever. I ain't like that. But got to keep it real about John Harbaugh. Do I agree with the Baltimore Ravens giving him a contract extension? No, I think they should have let him ride it out. But like you mentioned earlier, no, he's not a bad coach. John Harbaugh he definitely got some negatives about him, but he got a lot of positives about him as well. So we can't act like he's just some terrible coach. Oh, he sucks. He's this, he's that. But it's so, and I think it's always important if you're gonna talk about the negative with a coach, which is fine. We talk about everything on here. Talk about the good as well. Talk about both. Make sure both are highlighted. Does he make some bad challenges sometimes? Do he make some bad decisions sometimes? Oh, yeah. Can time management still be an issue for John Harbaugh? Even 16, 17 years later? Yeah, it certainly can. Can sometimes he not play the best player at certain positions on the roster? Oh, yeah. Yeah. But talk about is good, too. Is he a good team builder? Yeah. Does he have this team, the locker room, handled? Yeah, he does. And when stuff seems to start getting out of line, they get it fixed. Because remember, even this year with Marcus Williams, Eddie Jackson wasn't looking pretty in there. And I remember we talked about it too plenty of times. So we were saying, oh, is the locker room a little shaky right now? I mean, we got some questions from Teamkeepitclean. Oh, does John Harbaugh, is he losing control of the locker room? And I say he ain't losing control of it, but he barely holding on. But they got it together. One of the things over the years that we've talked about with the Baltimore Ravens, I feel like they struggle making tough decisions. But this year specifically, we look at John Harbaugh. He made some really, really tough decisions with Marcus Williams, Eddie Jackson. Those were really tough decisions to do. Those veteran players that have had a lot of success throughout their careers individually. And then the way you're financially committed to Marcus Williams and you decide to make a decision like that, like, oh, no, we're benching you. You're done. And he got benched. So a lot of us are thinking, oh, man, is he going to play again? But then when he started getting on the inactive list, I said, ooh. And I said it in videos. I said, oh, when he started being on the inactive list, I said, oh, yeah, he probably played his last snap as a Raven. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, but they paying him all this? They got to play him at least a little bit more. Nope. He played his last snap. That man, $70 million on your inactive list. Ball hawk safety on your inactive list on game day. $70 million on that roster, inactive. And it's crazy because a lot of Ravens fans are like, oh, man, Marcus Williams this year, he ain't looking good. Marcus Williams this year, he fell off. Marcus Williams this year, this and that. A lot of Ravens were saying that. They were saying that, oh, he ain't look good. But he kept being out there. Yeah, Harbaugh said, okay. He's just going to the bench. I remember being so surprised at that. I said, what? Who, Harbaugh? Whoa. Who are you? Who is this Harbaugh? I don't know you. I don't remember. Who are you? He did it. And everything with Eddie Jackson, got him up out of there. Got him going. Another thing with Harbaugh, you talk about his hires. That's another positive too, man. Like his coaching hires. We could question them initially, but they usually work. Greg Roman. Now with that one, the hire was good, but they let him stay too long. They let him stay way too long. Because Greg Roman is a nice introductory offensive coordinator. First couple of years, he makes things really easy for the quarterbacks. He helps them rely on the running game. Helps them rely on the tight ends. Heavy. So nice transition from college to the pros. Great job, Greg. Giro. But after that, it just gets stale. There's no growth. But John Harbaugh retained Greg Roman for way too long. That was a big mistake. And it hindered Lamar Jackson's growth. Had people talking reckless about Lamar Jackson. I mean, some people still do, but way less now. Because they know, but had people talking crazy about Lamar Jackson. Oh, he can't do this. He can't do that. He ain't no real quarterback. Da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what? What? Even Ravens fans. Had Ravens fans talking crazy about him and all. Not just media people. People that watch this man every single Sunday. And it had so many people around the world doubting him. Doubting what he could do. Because of that offense. See what happened when we got Todd Monken? There was so much growth. So much change immediately. And then it's like, all right, well, Todd Monken in the first year, the second year. All right, well, how much more can you grow? A lot. A whole lot. Who hired Todd Monken? John Harbaugh. Gotta give him credit. Again, talk about the bad, but also talk about the good too, man. Don't forget that. Then go back even further too. Look at him hiring Mike Macdonald. Hire Mike Macdonald. A lot of people like, oh, nepotism. And hey, it is all about who you know. You know that's in life. But hire Mike Macdonald. They're like, oh yeah, he coached with his brother over there in Michigan. Oh, he just hired one of his friends again. Then Mike Macdonald at the beginning of the year, it was like, oh yikes, this defense. Whoa, yikes. But as time went on, that defense became the best in the league. Mike Macdonald was amazing. And he was so amazing. He had so many Ravens fans saying, hey, we want him to be the next head coach after John Harbaugh. But obviously he got signed by the Seattle Seahawks, so it broke a lot of our hearts. And, hey, that was that. So then follow that up. All right, Zach Orr, new defensive coordinator. So Zach Orr, he never been a defensive coordinator before, like ever. Okay. Early on in the season, was not looking good. It's like, okay, Zach, we got to get Zach Orr up out of here, baby. But they stuck with him. They continue to roll with him. And look how that defense turned out. It turned out amazing. So, again, talk about the bad, but also make sure you talk about the good, too. It's very, very important to bring out both. So, anyway, let's continue. He said, I don't know. These are just my thoughts, but what are your thoughts? But, yeah, we definitely expressed our thoughts now. I really thought we were going to be able to get to other questions in this video. I had planned on it. I ain't even planned on talking this much about it. But, hey, as y'all know, kind of these Ravens, boy, we good. But, no, man, I appreciate you, Malachi, because I think, like I said, it's important. It's important just to highlight everything, because not everything is so black and white. And, yeah, it is what it is. So y'all let me know. I know y'all will, but y'all let me know how y'all feeling. What are y'all expectations for the Baltimore Ravens moving forward, especially now that John Harbaugh got his nice 3-year contract extension? Because, again, I do still believe that even though the Ravens have come up short, even though the Ravens have failed, when you put it black and white, they failed. Again, with context, there's a lot that goes into it, but they come up short. That's the bottom line. They come up short. So I still think, though, that the ultimate success should still be expected from John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens.